Today on the American Truck Podcast, Samsung kills off the Galaxy Note 7, PS4 is getting Fallout 4 mods, Skyrim has been remastered, League is getting replays, and Twitch subscriptions have quadrupled. Hello and welcome to the American Truck Podcast with Andrew C.
And Jefferson B.
Freelance gamer.
Hey, has anyone here got a Galaxy Note 7?
You know, actually, it was so cold this morning, I could have totally used a Galaxy Note 7.
Nice hand warmer.
Yes. Well, might be a hand melter. But you'd be
Oh, really?
warm.
Do tell,
Would
do
be
tell.
warm. Yeah, so there's a public service announcement from everyone here at Ghost Inc. If you have a Galaxy Note 7, please turn it off and get rid of it.
We're not saying this because we dislike the phone entirely, but legitimately this is something from Samsung to do with your phone.
Yeah, so as everyone knows, the original version of the phone was bursting into flames and whatnot, and it wasn't just the normal phones bursting into flames problem. It was like legit, randomly the phone would just burst into flames. So they issued a thing about replacements, and they would actually give a lot of people new phones that had different batteries than the last phone. And those burst into flames now too. So there are no safe Galaxy Note 7s at this point, and they've actually halted all production. They're fully discontinuing the Note 7 line, and so if you have one, you're being asked to take it to where you bought it and exchange it for either another phone of a Samsung variety or another brand entirely. And all of the major carriers are following this directive. If you bought it online, however, you do have to exchange it via shipping. And if you're going to do that, you need to contact Samsung. There's, I'm sure, a web page that somewhere there that you can do that with, and they'll actually ship you the shipping system. It's basically they've had to develop some fireproof boxes, because the shipping carriers were
Concerned, to say the least.
very concerned about shipping them. So the system is actually, you get an anti-static bag, you get a box, another box, and then a box lined with, that's thermally insulated with ceramic fiber, which might irritate your skin. So it also includes a thing of latex gloves, which if you're allergic to latex might irritate your skin. They didn't think that one through. But so you definitely want to rid yourself of that phone, even if you like it, because it inevitably will burst into flames.
I believe it's safe to say that this whole ordeal with the Galaxy Note 7 has been quite the fracas. It
has been quite the fracas, yes.
I believe we've officially reached fracas levels. I can safely confirm that. This is definitely. I'm glad that Samsung's taking these kind of steps rather than just saying, "Oh, sorry, your phone might burst into flames," and then just like fan themselves with wads of cash. But they're actually like going that extra mile, I think, to make sure that they can help their customers in every way possible.
And they pretty much have to. I mean, if you just kind of try to let one of these things go by the wayside, you can say pretty much goodbye to any trust that your brand ever will have. You know, the only way that you really recover from one of these things is making sure it's fixed pronto. And even if the way it's fixed is by discontinuing all existence of the product. And
sure.
So,
and what I'm interested in is, like, is somebody going to not turn in their phone and hang on to it for like 10 years, and then we'll see somebody like resurface it and be like, "Oh man, I remember my old Note 7," and then like try to power it on, and the whole thing just bursts into flames?
That would be incredibly stupid, but it totally could happen.
And it would not be Samsung's fault anymore.
This is true.
It would be.
But it'd be one of those things where like we would all look back on that and be like, "Oh yeah, I remember when those phones burst into flames. That's a problem."
Mm-hmm.
Hold on, let me take out my my quantum computing phone and make sure I can take a 3D video of this to memorialize in glory, because that's just where I feel like phones are going to be in 10 years. But hey, what do I know?
That is a very grandiose vision of what phones will look like in 10 years.
I mean, think about 10 years ago from today. We really had no idea what 10 years ago today was going to look like.
Somewhat. I will say that what I've noticed going, forward, there will be a point where you kind of go, oh, well, I mean, that's not too radically different than a couple years ago. Like, I feel like we're starting to, with some things, we're kind of hitting the stagnation point.
For now, and then hopefully we'll have a new piece of innovation that'll take off. At this point, and we'll go from there.
The iPhone 7 is the same as the 6. At least it looks, minus a headphone jack. And that covers about 4 years, 5 years of time. So, it's not impossible. But I definitely see your point, though.
Yeah.
Update to a previous story we had.
The PS4. Oh. Sorry, I thought I was supposed to get on my side there first. I was almost about to roll there, actually.
Oh, that's good. We talked about PS4, how it wasn't going to get Fallout 4 mods. Well, it turns out there's been some kind of reversal of opinion at Sony, I guess, and it's going to be allowed to happen now. So you will be able to get Fallout 4 mods in the game. They did say that the only thing you will be able to use is mods that only have existing assets, so there won't be able to be any player-made assets on the PS4 mods.
That makes sense.
You at least can have them. So,
all right, that means something.
So this is an advancement. No date yet on when it's going to be available. They did say, however, that the Skyrim Special Edition version will launch with mod support, which is coming out October 28th. If you didn't know that a Skyrim Special Edition was coming out, which is essentially a remastered version of Skyrim, because I had no idea until this happened. Maybe I just overlooked it a lot. They said that both the Special Edition here of rip my truck of Skyrim and Fallout 4 will both have support for native 4K on the PS4 Pro, which is, according to Jeff, quite unusual, right?
Yeah. So a lot of content that's currently being produced for the Sony's upcoming PlayStation 4 Pro, a lot of it's going to be an upscaled 4K, which basically means we're going to take that 1080p signal and stretch it from the corners.
And if you've ever done that, it's going to look awful.
It's gonna look good. Don't get me wrong. I still have good confidence it's gonna look good. But if I put that thing side by side against natively inscribed 4K content, there's no contest. So I mean, it's kind of like what we saw with upscaling DVD players. It's only as good as the software codecs that have been written. So your mileage may vary on a game by game basis. Some of your more AAA titles with a lot more developers pouring money and time into shaders are going to look fantastic. Some of your more indie titles might suffer, but at that point, I would love to see if Sony could just have a little software switch that allows me to render my games in their original 1080p or 720p editions to get all that sweet frame rate loving. So yeah, there's only right now, so far I've only noticed a list of maybe 24 games right now that are supporting native 4K, and it's fantastic to see that both Fallout 4 and Skyrim are both on that list. I'm not surprised, just because they have the money to really pour into what is essentially remastering the entire game library.
Right. This is true. It's very true. And so they did post the system requirements for this, and I was kind of surprised to find that it's really only basically mid to low tier requirements for, you know, i5s with various GTXs of the 470 through 780 variety. So it's not that intensive on the PC side, which is kind of good. Basically, if you've got a newer computer, you probably can run this new version without problem.
Now, does that mean at 30 frames a second?
It doesn't say.
That like
minimum recommended i5s.
If it's got those kind of minimum specs, if we set that up on Kyle's rig, because Kyle, I think right now you have the highest end rig of all of us. Based on your GPU alone. I'd be interested to see what kind of frames and what sort of anti-aliasing you could get pushed out of your system.
Yep. So PC players that already own Skyrim and own all of the expansions for Skyrim will get the special edition for free. And
Ooh, I should double check if I actually get the game then. I don't think I do.
It all depends on those expansions.
Yeah, I have to double check that.
They are with DLC. So, there was that. Again, it's kind of crept up on me here with that one because it was actually I learned about it through the little bit about the Fallout 4 mods. So I was a little kind of surprised to find out about that. Now, something that is actually really surprising. Rito has decided that League should indeed get replays and clip highlights as part of the base game.
Woo!
Basically, making it more like the Championship Series?
Yeah, I mean, I guess, perhaps. Oh dear. Oh dear, there's just a truck stuck on the ramp.
He's not stuck on the ramp.
It's
that,
he isn't now. He was when I got here.
It's that guy from before, though. I spawned next to this guy.
Oh.
Netherlands, dude.
Well, he's actually German. I found out, but he's also seriously playing by the rules.
You can see why I had problems behind him.
Just tap your horn twice and try and run behind him.
But the what was it though? There's third-party software that people were using for a while to record their League games, and it's something the community really wanted. I'm glad they're putting that in.
Yeah, and sometimes
I'll be happy when they add some other features, but that's a good start.
Sometimes, some people even just want it for the ability to have some way of visibly critiquing their work.
Mm-hmm.
And getting, the best way to get better is to watch back what you did and learn and see what you did wrong.
Yeah, what did I miss? What did I not think about at the time?
Yep.
Totally. And I feel like this is just one more step that helps the garage scene of tournaments really get that extra level of polish that they want. It's part of what the community wants.
Right, exactly. So, and speaking of things that the community wants, they've also acknowledged that there were some serious flaws with the ranked system this season here. And as a result, they're actually going to make some very large changes here. We're actually going to split the ranked league back into 2 queues again, as you might remember. They pretty much merged everything into the dynamic queue system, so you could queue as 1 person, 2 people, 3, 5, whatever you wanted, and you would face against, hopefully in an ideal world, similarly matched things to what you joined as. So if you were a duo queue, you would hopefully get paired with a duo queue and a single, or a duo queue and a 3-person, but hopefully you never got paired against a 5-man.
Or hopefully you were a duo queue with 3 singles, not against a duo queue with a 3-man team.
Right.
Things like that were things they tried to avoid, and they saw a lot of that still happening just because they have a much more limited pool of people to pick from when you do it in that way.
Right.
They have to make the numbers work.
And short of increasing queue times dramatically to make sure it works, you end up with those compromises. And so the best way to fix that is to just split the queues again. So you're now going to have a dedicated solo and duo queue tier, and then you'll also have the what they're now going to call ranked flex, which will be for everything else. So if you are one person who wants to do whatever and be, then you can go into ranked flex, and it's basically like the way dynamic queues already is, where it's 1 to 5, and they cram people together into little groups. So that isn't going away, but you're getting the additional ability of doing solo and duo queues,
which will have most likely better queue timers.
Right.
If your focus is that.
Yep. And so there's going to be, as they put it, 2 queues, 2 ladders, 2 different sets of MMR for these 2 different things. So, and they said that if for some reason it doesn't work out for next season, having the ranked flex, then they'll ultimately just go back to a solo duo queue and a ranked 5s queue, and dynamic queue will go away. So beta, but we won't know that till probably, this time next year. Right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, probably about.
Next season will begin.
They'll probably do. We'll probably see this implemented preseason. So we might see it actually if they really, really dislike it. Like if it turns out to be that they absolutely can't do it that way either, then we might see it change before actual season during preseason.
That's true. Yeah.
But it's unlikely we'll see that.
Yeah.
There won't be enough data by then, most likely.
It'll probably stick it out. And I mean, I feel like this probably solves the majority of the problems.
Right.
By being able to have people who only want to do solo queue or who only ever duo, being able to put them into that category that they're used to is probably overall better.
I would think so too.
And something I'm not terribly surprised about here, with the advent of Twitch Prime, it has been discovered that Twitch subscriptions have kind of quadrupled.
I see nothing wrong with this.
I'm not saying that anything is wrong with it. I'm just saying that which is why I said I'm not really surprised. This is kind of what I expected.
I have a subscription to give out, and I haven't done it because I just haven't been watching enough. So I don't want to subscribe to someone and then just be subscribed to them. And this is relates to an earlier thing last week where we were ranting. I partially want to subscribe while I'm watching the person, so they'll say thanks for the subscribe.
Hey man, no shame.
No. That's a problem, but it's a personal problem.
It's an internal conflict with yourself.
That's quite the bombshell right there.
It is. And on that, it is time to end. I hope you enjoyed this episode of the American Truck Podcast. If you like it, make sure you hit that like button. Perhaps also hit the subscribe button. We'll get these videos to you every day. And maybe leave a comment down below as well. And we will see you guys next week.